What is up, survivors? We are back for another mod review, and for today's mod review we're going to be going over the Eco's Highland Homes mod. This is a new one that came out from Eco, and I gotta tell you, this might actually be my favorite. So this is a huge, well, I wouldn't say huge, but this is a pretty big structural cool building mod that can be attached to a lot of other different decors and RP sort of style things to make some really cool things happen. Let's get into it. We're going to have structures, we're going to have all sorts of stuff to talk about, and in typical fashion we've kind of placed them all down, and we'll kind of go over all of them and what they look like and how they behave and all that good stuff. So let's go all the way back over. We're going to go over all this stuff eventually, but I'm going to start down here by this little house down here. These structures that we're looking at are all one big piece, by the way. You place these down and you can build inside of them, decorate them, and do whatever you want. But ultimately, you will need this Eco Highland Home crafting table. The crafting table will be automatically unlocked at level 1, and it just requires thatch and wood to make it. You can place it down. It looks like a little cart with pumpkin and barrel in it. Even if you're not using it for crafting, a cool little decor item. All of your stuff that we're going to talk about gets crafted in here. That's all it gets crafted in, and obviously it's organized really well. We'll talk about how all that stuff works. That's where you're going to make everything that applies out in this place. So let's start from right here, I guess, because we have a couple of little accent pieces to talk about when we get here, and then we'll kind of go all the way around the outside. We'll talk about the stuff on the inside and a few other pieces too. So right away, this is the cobble treehouse. There's a couple different types of treehouse. This is the cobble treehouse, and again, this is all one big piece with the exception of the door. You'll be able to change the door and change the color and the look of it when you snap it in place. But basically any round opening you see like this door is going to fit into, but you'll be able to change the style so they don't all look the same and it can match what you're doing, which is pretty awesome. Obviously open and close, and it looks like it doesn't have like an auto or anything like that, which is fine, but it's not there just in case you're looking for it. There's a couple of different lighting options too. I have the lantern post out here as well. I think you can, yeah, you can pick these guys back up. I'm pretty sure you can pick up everything out here. That's pretty trademark for Eco stuff, but this looks incredible. I love the little shack up there and the giant swampy and the giant tree out here with the little windows in it. Like this, this is freaking cool. I usually like building in the swamp biomes, so this is like perfect for that, I feel like. Anywho, we got a full story in here you can build in, and I added some more lights. These are independent lights that you'd have to build, but there's a wall lantern you can place, and then also a ceiling lantern that'll hover, mount to any ceiling. So you have ones that mount to ceilings, ones that mount to walls, and then outside you have the one on the pole, but then you also have this regular sitting one that you can just have on a table or whatever. So pretty much any angle you need a light, you can slap these guys in and they work great. No fuel source, and they're not like too bright. They're just enough, I think, actually. And so inside you have a pretty good area inside of here. It's not pretty, I mean, it's pretty big actually. But then your second story offers you a good deal of space too. So perfect for like a little single player house, or if you're making a little town, these guys work well together. Obviously, you can combine these up with maybe something like Eco's RP decor and really deck this place out and have it all match, would be pretty cool. But ultimately, this is really well done, and I can't expect anything less from an Eco mod. One of the things I really appreciate about this is all of these pre-built structures. I see mods that have these a lot of times, and my one frustration with them sometimes is the ability to pick them up so easily that you could accidentally pick it up and remove stuff. What's incorporated in here by default, as you can see, it takes you a really, really long time to commit to picking this thing up. So you're not really gonna, you would have to, like, I don't know, put something on your E key and then walk away and go do some stuff around the house and then come back to find out that you picked up the structure. Like, it's really hard to do that, which I really like, especially when you start decorating and moving stuff inside of here. It's super easy to pick up like a big structure like that and make a bad mistake, but not with this. And this looks awesome. Man, this looks awesome. All right, so let's, well, we can talk about the 3 different tree houses. Let's do that first. So this is the cobble. And I guess we can talk about this. We're going to kind of jump around here, but everything that we're going to talk about is on this bench. I'm so excited about this. I want to use this like right now. These are some garden walls. So you have like the stone fence option, as we can see, and you can pick them up and place them down. They snap to foundations, and then you have like a gate and a gate door. So you can make like a little enclosure if you want to. They snap to regular foundations, as you can see. I just got wooden floors out here and the little gate door as well. You can lock these guys, pick everything up as always. There's some tree options too in the form of some mushrooms. So we have the small, I think this is the small mushroom, and then this is the large one. Yeah, the small and big mushrooms. As you can see, they got the little like fireflies, or like emitting a little bit of light around them too, which is kind of neat. We also have the flower from like Genesis 1. If you're used to that from like the swampy biome, you're used to seeing those things. Probably one of my favorite things. Like, I don't know why, but something about these giant flowers just looked awesome in that biome. So the idea of being able to just free place these is really cool. And it emits a pretty good light source as well, actually. This is the dark wood treehouse. As you can see, it's just the wood's darker. It looks a bit more beaten, a little bit more worn. It's got some blues tied into the house too. But generally inside, these are going to look the same. I forgot about these little nooks in this one though. Let me go back. I think the other one has, I think they all have these nooks, actually. Let's make sure I'm not losing my mind. I think they're modeled inside. I think they're modeled the same way. Oh, no, they're not. No, they're not. Okay. That's something I totally missed. Huh. So the houses are modeled slightly differently. I like that. Let's look at the smokestack, different type of tree. Obviously, the tree matches the house, which is perfect. And then we go up the steps. Again, you would use the same door. You would just be able to change the texture to it. But you have these little nooks on this floor. What's the upstairs look like at this point? So it's pretty much the same. I think it's a little bit more open on this end. But yeah, this place looks awesome. Check this out. All right. So, I can't believe I missed that. I was running around in these things for like an hour and a half. And for whatever reason, I didn't pick up on that. Anyway, other treehouse over here. This is called the plaster treehouse, and again, different tree style, different house style on the outside. Let's take a peek inside. Now I'm curious. All right, so this looks like the same first floor as the cobblestone, and generally the same upstairs as far as size. Aesthetically, obviously, it's different. It's colored different, texture different, and I think it looks really cool. So the dark wood one has those little nooks in it. I kind of like that idea. It's cool that they're different. Like, not only are they physically like different on the outside, but inside they're actually built a little bit different. They're laid out a little bit different. I'm going to skip some of that stuff over there. We're going to talk about that stuff later on, and we're going to go this way and just hit all the structures up just so we can see all of these. But man, this is beautiful. Love these houses. I always like building in the swamp or like the jungle, and these are like perfect for that. Yeah. All right, so these structures obviously get a bit bigger. And this is all one big piece, so the rocks going around it, the bushes on top of it, everything is just one big piece. And I'll GC them up and you can see just how big we're looking at some of these. They are very, very large. All right, this is our cobble cottage. And as we can see, same door, the same round door. Like I said, anytime you see a round door, you use this door and then you can change the aesthetics however you want to fit in here. And these got a pretty good room to them too. We got a little nook back here and we got this big area over here. So you got a lot of room in here. I don't think there's a second floor to this one. No, there's no second floor to this one, but I mean, that's still a decent amount of room. I mean, you could put all your forges, your smithy, all this stuff in one room essentially, and then just kind of decorate and do whatever you wanted to. Or you make a couple of these, right? You turn one into like a little crafting house maybe. Man, this is so cool. I love it. All right, so let's cruise over to this one. He's a little bit bigger, I think. And this is the brick cottage. Let's go in and take a look-see. So this is kind of laid out opposite. So we come in on the left-hand side. This seems a bit more open, not having the door on the side though. Actually, I kind of like this. But yeah, I love these cool bay windows too. Looks fantastic. Same thing with the pickup option on this. There's no way you're going to accidentally pick these guys up, which is pretty awesome. That was a really smart move, and I'm really glad to see that incorporated into any mod that does like a big structure like this. If you're doing stuff like that, take notes, because that is how you do it. Coming over to the brick log cottage, and this kind of sort of matches the dark wood treehouse that we looked at earlier. And this one actually comes in the center. Really? Does it come in the center? Yeah, I guess it kind of does. Well, it's offset a little bit to the left, maybe. But man, I love the big wide door openings too. And this is kind of laid out sort of like the first cottage we looked at, but the textures are completely different, obviously. And I love that it's not like, I feel like traditional arc walls, like one wall high, feels cramped, and it's just enough higher that it doesn't feel cramped in these rooms either. So that's fantastic. All right, cruising on over. You could like hide these in the woods somewhere and no one would ever find your house, by the way. This is the plaster cottage, kind of matching the plaster treehouse. Starting to see a trend here. And this is modeled sort of after like the dark wood one that we looked at. It's kind of laid out the same way. And you'll notice a pattern. In general, the footprints will more or less be the same. But what we're really looking at is like aesthetically, it looks a lot better. And I love the little smokestacks. I mean, you could fly over this and miss this easy. If it was in like the jungle or something like that, oh my God, it'd be so easy to hide your house. Nobody would ever find you. It'd be like a little hermit. Man, this is the lodge, which I believe is supposed to be bigger. This is supposed to be the kind of the biggest one, and as we can see, we got a lot more room inside of here. And a really big room in here, so this is definitely a big boy. This looks fantastic as well. And I might have hit it by accident and needed to repair it. But man, this looks crazy. Gosh, man. Just when I think Eco's going to run out of ideas, we get more crazy things like this. So those are your big, really big structures out here. And then, like I said, this is really big. And you could easily like butt these up next to each other and make like a little town in the middle of jungle somewhere and nobody would know. Or like right on the edge of a cliffside over there and just kind of tuck it in. It's very sneaky, actually. I really like it. You can definitely make a very secluded house very easily with stuff like this. Looks awesome. All right, so the other thing, which is probably the thing that I'm kind of most excited for, are these awesome wagons. There are so many different variants of these wagons. So we have the caravan wagon here. I believe this is the Highland wagon over here. We have the shop wagon over here, and then we have some miscellaneous ones over here as well. We'll talk about Homeboy over there in a second. These wagons can be manually moved. You can manually push and pull them in different directions. I think that's about all you can do with them, or you can name them as well. But you can build inside of here. You can build inside of this thing, and then you can put a door on it and change the door up however you want. Now, again, this one will take the round door, sort of like what we looked at down here, where these guys will take like a square door that'll go in place. Now, the trick with these to remember, if you're going to use these wagons, by the way, is that the doors you're going to build a door and try to snap it in there, and it's not going to work. You're going to be able to make these wagon snap points, and those correspond to the type of wagon. They'll snap in there, and then the door will snap to that. That way you have the door attached to what you're looking at. And this looks awesome. Like this is just a wagon. I didn't add anything to this. This has all the lights and everything to it. And this guy too, same deal. I did put a storage box in here. There's a wagon storage box, 125 slot storage, which is awesome because it's not very big at all. And it's cool in here. You can make like a little mobile house in here, like pretty easily. I just imagine like a group of people like doing like a really truly like nomadic sort of play style and just using a bunch of these different type carts and just rolling around. The shop cart looks awesome too. You have the door on one side, and then you have like definitely the shopkeeper looking shelf out here. It's awesome. Fantastic. Better part about these guys is that you can hitch dinos to them. So you have the hitch option here, and we'll show you. Let's go back to the bench because I'm pretty sure it tells you which one's in here it will pick up and allow to carry. So if you, depending on the type of, I think, yeah, so it depends on the type of wagon, but you can use all these different animals. So for instance, the large Highland wagon right behind me, here's the list of all the animals that you can use to hitch it up with. And all you do is move the animal nearby it, and you'll have the option to walk over here, hold in E, and hit, or just hit E and hitch the dyno. The dyno will be hitched to it, and it will pull it like a cart. You can get on it, move it around, back it up however you want, and you'll be able to move it around, which is pretty sweet. This is so cool. The idea of being able to just have like your mobile fun little base with your friends just seems like a really hot idea. It just seems great. Like, man, it's a brilliant idea. I love it. So over here we have a Highland. This is the medium wagon here. These pretty much do the same thing. You can hitch a dyno to them, and then I think you can build inside of these as well, but obviously this one doesn't have a whole lot of room inside of it, but that's not really the point. The large wagon over here is just kind of open-ended, right? It's a big open wagon. We have a small one over here, and then we have a mini Highland wagon over here. And again, they all kind of work the same way. The thing to mention about the mini one, I thought I was driving myself crazy because I thought I dropped a bunch of stuff on the ground and it just happened to land perfectly in the wagon. Don't drive yourself crazy. That's actually meant for aesthetics, and I think it looks awesome. But yeah, this almost is like a little chariot, actually. It's kind of cool. But yeah, you'll have the hitch dynos here. The Highland cow is an animal that will be added. This isn't a skin. This is a legitimate animal that will get added, and they'll be out in the wild. They don't take over any other spawns from my understanding, but they will spawn around where like treks and most herbivorous sort of things are going to be. The taming method, they will eat like a hay bale, basically, that you'll be able to craft, and we'll talk about how to make that. But you'll tame them passively, but you want to tame the babies because apparently the grown-ups will get really mad at you. They have a couple of different abilities as well. You'll be able to look that up, and we'll have a link to the Steam Workshop page in here, but they have a bunch of different abilities, special abilities as well, so you can have your own little cows moving these things around. To top it off, you'll be able to make a yoke for the cow, and the yoke will enable the cow to actually be able to carry some stuff, but then also you get some cool cosmetic like cow scarves that you can put on top of these guys too that look kind of funny. And I think there's different between a male and female. Yeah, there's a male and female. Because the genders do look specifically different, mainly because I think of the horns. The horns look a little bit longer depending on which one you're using too. But yeah, so you have cows and you can use them. You can even show the dossier right here. I'm kind of surprised cows weren't in here a long time ago, honestly. All right. But when you're mounted on top of these, you'll notice that I'm not even on the saddle with the yoke. I'm actually sitting on the back of the wagon, but these work just like they just pull along, which is really cool. I'm really impressed with how smooth this actually works, right? So I was a little worried at start about hitching dynos, like how the cart was going to interact with the animals, but it actually runs super smooth. It's great. Like they don't like randomly detach or like start rolling around or anything like that. I immediately thought about like the old tech ATV days where you made the thing and it sat on the ground, but then it would constantly like drift across the ground by accident. No, none of those issues. These things work really smoothly and they look fantastic. So I think if you want to do like a town in the hills somewhere, this is perfect. But if you also just want to do like a mobile caravan sort of look, this would be perfect. I don't know. There's so many ideas here. Like I just imagine mammoths being tied up to these guys, pulling them around through the mountains, or like scorched earth, like having the thorny dragons pulling them around, having like a little desert caravan rolling around. There's so many possibilities for some cool stuff here. And even if you just, I don't know, sometimes I build bases and I want to move them immediately because I found something else that looks cool, and something like this would solve that problem. I could just go wherever I wanted. All right, so we got a couple more things to talk about over here, and there's a reason why I placed this guy over here, and when we get close, I'll show you. So you can see the ground start shaking when you get up to this thing. So these are 3 different ways, and as clearly we still have the Easter event going on. I don't know why I haven't turned that off yet. There's a lot of eggs out there, though. You have a feeding trough, a special feeding trough that works as a feeding trough, but then you can also put the stuff in the hay bales that the Highland cows will eat as well. So it'll increase the spoil timer. It's basically a better trough, but then you have the option to put the hay bales in there too. So how do we get the hay bales? So we have a hay drying rack firstly. So you can make a hay drying rack just by throwing fiber in here, and it will convert the fiber into this dried hay for you. Once you take the dried hay, you take it over here and you throw it inside of, and let's go grab some of that just to show you. Throw it inside of this guy and it starts to make it into hay bales. And the hay bales are what you use to feed and tame the cows. This is all one big piece, by the way. Like you drop this whole thing with the calico on top of it. The calico is just sitting there matching it. This is an awesome animation. It's pretty cool. I would suggest building this a little bit further away though, because you don't want this next to your house and be in your house and your screen doing this all day long. It might drive you a little nuts, but this is a cool concept. I like it. And I think the calico is a little underused, so I think it looks great there. There's a scorpion inside the... Oh, is that what's going on? The scorpion is taunting the calico and the calico smashing the hay. I just realized that. That's awesome. I love it. This is these little things that always happen in eco mods. Makes my heart happy. Man, this is cool. Oh, you know what? I have one more. Oh, we have one more cottage over here. I forgot about that. I ran out of room over there because these things are a lot bigger than I thought they were. We still got one more. This is called the fancy log cottage, and I think that's because I mean, honestly, it's fancier. Look at it. It's bougie. The interior is laid out much like the other ones, but you get a bit more added trim with some color options too. A bit more color, a bit more trim added to it. It's nice. It's very cool. Man, I love these things. Can you get on top of the roof? Like, can I walk around on top of this? I can't. Oh man, you could be like sneaky on top of your house with a ghillie suit, like hunting trespassers down. Oh man, there's way too many fun. Oh man, I don't know. When Fjorda comes out, I might. Ooh, man, I want to use this on that, like really, really bad. I'm jumping all over the place. I can't help it. I'm too excited about this. Anyway, so one of the last things to talk about here is the stone bridge. These are bridges that snap together like foundations, and you can obviously build bridges out of them. So they go a lot taller than this, probably about 3 times taller than this. So you could go way out in the waterways if you needed to go over a river, but these are going to basically how you're going to do it. And they snap to each other really great, but then you have the stair option right here on the end as well, so you can snap stairs all the way down. So if you need bridges going to your little island or across your rivers nearby, that's how you're going to do it. Lastly, we have all these different armors and skins options. Now, we talked about the one for the cow, but we have a different cowboy hat skin, and then we have some armor. Primitive Highland gear is pretty much what it's called. It looks like it's just kind of meant there, I would say, more for cosmetics, right? Like, you're not getting super high benefits out of something like this, but they do look really cool. And I think the style changes depending on whether you're using a male. Yeah, it looks like it changes depending if you're a male or a female character. I don't see the option to like change them, right? I'm pretty sure you just gotta, yeah, it just changes depending on what type of character you are. But these things look fantastic, man. Man, I don't think there's an eco mod that I haven't been a fan of, but this might be my most favorite one now. I think combining this like with like the RP decor mod would be perfect, man. And you could combine this with other Empire mods as well. Some of the Eco Empire series, like these just, I love that these mods are so clean and so well done. But the fact that they incorporate with each other so well, like you could do a really fun PvE or RP server with something like this. And almost have like little cultures and little areas all over one big map. That's super appealing to me. I really like that idea. Well done, as always. But that is pretty much it, folks. That is the Ecos Highland Home mods. We will leave a link in the description to the Steam Workshop page. You guys can check that out when you want to. And again, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you all in the next one.